Good morning. Welcome to State of the Market, everybody. We got a great show for you today. We're going to talk about government shutdowns, what makes it a special situation, history of shutdowns. And actually, it's funny is brought me back to my youth. Traded these shutdowns many, many, many times. Many, many, many times over the years as a youth. Again, if you don't know who I am, I'm Andrew Giovinazzi, Director of Education, OptionPit.com, president of said growing behemoth option trading education firm, where all our traders trade our trades. Oh my gosh. And what else? Oh, I was a former floor trader for 15 years from 1991 to 2006. And then I left, retired to the coast of Maine, and here I am. And in 2011 or 2010, I hooked up with Mark when he was starting this fledgling mentoring program. And now I just hang out on a rock in Maine and I watch my chickens. They made it last night. For all of you that follow my newsletter I put out every day, the chickens survived their first free range session. Haven't had to kill the rat extermination thing. For all of you know, I had some rats got into my compost pile last year, and I basically had fun just shooting them all. I know, it sounds terrible, but I poisoned them, shot them, did everything I could to get rid of them. And now we're looking here. Here we are. Get some cats. Yeah, I'm not going to get any cats. Cats don't work for me. Anywho, okay, so what do we have today? Shutdown. Andrew's asking, do I have fox in the air? I have fox, and we have the occasional coyote. Fox and the occasional coyote. That's what we got. So you can see right now. Did I share my screen already? I can't tell. I guess I could probably put that up at some point. Oh, I'll let Dave do it. Oh yeah, a goat's possible for us too, Hogan. So what do we have? Does the market right now look like it's concerned about said shutdown? Also, what is the shutdown? Basically, what's happened is Congress passed a bill that they did not fund, which would leave, if the government decides not to fund, appropriate money, that does leave the Trump administration wide range to, since Congress does not fund it, the Trump administration does not have to pay it. So they could, in theory, until Congress appropriates the money, cancel contracts. There is a wide range of authority because Congress did not appropriate the money. What they do pay right now is interest on treasury bills, interest on bonds and stuff, making sure people get Social Security benefits. The president decides what is important and what is not. So if Congress doesn't do anything, they're ceding a lot of power to the executive because they are not doing their job to appropriate the money that they're supposed to. So the big question, and I wrote about it last night, is, does Congress want to cede that much authority to, the Trump administration? I'm not so sure about that. So we'll see what happens. But again, it's political theater. But it is possible, theoretically, that Trump administration could lay off 700,000 federal workers that they deem non-important. So there could be the whole Doge shakedown that they wanted. could actually happen. So these are all potentials. Now, how would the market take if all of a sudden the Trump administration magically balanced the federal budget on the shutdown? You think it was possible this was part of the calculus? So there are some, what I would call potentially market moving activities that are going through. Now, I got a lot of this from Frank, who is my compadre in Capital Gains, which runs Tuesdays at 2 p.m. But that's the situation. Now, today at 2 p.m. So what is happening with volatility? So let's see how the market takes this. Again, if you're new to Option Pit or you're new to the state of the market, I think what I would call a fairly steady gain in volatility here since the shutdown, since they couldn't come to an agreement. Basically, volatility is really not moving. We haven't really moved too far away from the 16 handle in about a month. You can see that here. We've pretty much been pinned to 16. SPY has pretty much gone up slowly in what I would call a relative, right? Just as like relative bull market pattern, just kind of slowly grinding higher. Not even slow from 637. And VIX is higher now than it was. Volatility is higher now than it was when we were trading 637. So the shutdown does cause the volatility markets to become somewhat disconnected. Because what you have is a very bullish undertone to the market, but a very unresponsive volatility market because traders are still nervous. So when they're nervous, they're just going to buy options. The natural sellers of options go away. So what you have is you have kind of a special situation here because, why special situation is essentially you have an event. The problem with the shutdown is how long will the event last? So remember we had talked, for all of you that have been here, and I believe we post these videos somewhere. They go somewhere. I'll have more information on that later. But we do post educational videos. I believe these go to YouTube. Do they go to our YouTube channel? I hope they do. Maybe somebody can answer that for me. I wish I knew more. But the event breaks the normal decay cycle. When you trade options, what's one of the things that changes every day no matter what? Right? So what happens is time's broken. Doesn't work anymore. Every day that goes by is one day closer to expiration. And expiration is going to happen on, I believe our next expiration is October 17th for the ordinary cycle, ordinary options. Vicky says our state of the market replays are over on the left. Thank you, Vicky. For all of you new here, that's the left side of the screen. State of market replay is the left side. So time is broken, which means it's hard for volatility to decay. So what the liquidity providers do is they just kind of keep pushing implied volatility up. That's what they do. I was a liquidity provider for a long time. That's what I would do. You could actually go in there and increase the prices on the computer. Tell the quote operator, take the vol up 1 point, take the vol up 2 points. Now, do you think that's fair? You're all in here. Do you think it's fair liquidity providers can just do what they want? Change the option prices however they want? James H says no, no. Moaning and groaning. No, that's not fair. I want the option prices at the price I want. Boo. Now, here's a question. No, they're evil. Now, I'll ask you another question. Who actually sells you the contracts you want to buy? Is it the exchange? Who actually sells them to you? Right? Is it Schwab? I didn't know it was arbitrary. James H., I've been teaching these classes now for 14 years. The first thing I tell you is the screen means nothing. They're conniving mobsters. The liquidity providers are the ones that sell the options to you and buy them from you. It would be like you're running your business and you have no control over your prices. The clearinghouse does not do. The liquidity providers give you the trades. They do it anyway, the sneakiest people around. Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. Now, here's the thing. Is anybody making you trade this option? Here you go. Here we go. Anybody forcing you to buy those 667 calls for 123? They need to pay. Anybody making you do that? Andrew, I don't want to buy those options. They're making me buy them. This is what's called a market. Oh, this is what's called a market. Are the liquidity providers the same as market makers? Yes, they are, Johnny P. So this sets up. Now I know the subject that gets everybody's goat. The liquidity providers can just move things arbitrarily. There is a method to the madness, of course. Join Pro, Rip Zone, all the classes that we trade here to teach you about all that stuff. So what I'm giving you is the scenario that the traders sit on because they have to provide liquidity to the world. That's how option prices move. If 100 million people want to buy calls, where are they going to go do it? They're going to go trade options. So what's happened is so the government, now I gave you the kind of the rundown for the government. Again, in my opinion, Congress would cede an incredible amount of power to the current president if they shut the government down. So do you think Trump actually cares that they're going to shut the government down? Do you think that's a problem for him? No. So it is possible that this shutdown could last a long time. Interesting enough, let's take a look. Who had the longest shutdown in history? Which president? Take a wild guess. Let's see. It wasn't Barack. It was Trump in 2018, the longest in history. It was not LBJ, Denmark. It was Trump, and the reason why, I'll go over the reasons later, but he was the longest. So I'm giving you the 10 most recent. I guess I got the eight most recent here. So I'm just saying, again, I'm just telling you what I see as things play out. You make your own decisions. We're not here to do political lambasting. But these are the facts. The facts are what? The government can shut down. They will cede incredible power to the executive for a period of time. That is a fact. Last time, 35 days, February 9th, 2018, 1-day shutdown. January 20th, 3-day shutdown. October 1 through the 17th, the showdown lasted for 6 President Obama. Sorry, I just got an alert. I want to see what happened here. Anything good? KTOS is going to 100. This stock's going to 100. All my capital gains subscribers know what I think about that one. Okay. December 16th to January 6th. Again, this was under Clinton. I remember trading this 21-day shutdown because of trying to balance the budget. Denmax saying no park rangers. The president can decide what stays open and what closes. Like I said, a lot of power going to the executive for a period of time. November 14th to the 19th, you had a 5-day shutdown. October 5th through 9th, 1990, 3-day shutdown. And again, I remember that was more over funding because the first savings and loan crisis was happening, and they were definitely having problems with that, raising taxes. This was George H.W. Bush, George Bush 1. And then we had a shutdown with Reagan for 1 day. So this has happened before, and we have survived. But Trump is clearly comfortable with a long shutdown. Does everybody understand that? And he's had 2 shutdowns as a president, from what I can see, maybe even 3. So he is comfortable with the shutdown. It is theoretically possible he could shut the government shuts down, and they could balance the budget by firing and laying off $1 trillion worth of spend. That is theoretically possible. I'm just saying. I'm not going to say it's going to happen. I'm just saying it's theoretically possible. Now, what did the market do? What did the market do? You guys interested? So I'm taking a walk down memory lane because this is my youth when I was young and handsome instead of just old. Start of the shutdown, SPY on Trump's first shutdown, 2040-70. By the end of the shutdown, 265.28. That's like a 10% pop in SPY. Pretty good. I had this as the close to close. Again, they were fighting over the border wall. They were fighting over immigration, all this kind of stuff. Here's another thing. Did the immigration problem go away after they had this shutdown? I believe we still have it today. They can't figure it out. February 9th, we had this short-term shutdown. 1 day, it was like a Monday to a Friday to a Monday. You had a 9-point pop in the SPY over that period of time. All right, now I can see in the chat, everybody's starting to put their tinfoil hat on right now. Anything can happen. I'm just saying. Why do you think the VIX is where it is? Because anything can happen. I've been trading options for 35 years. The only thing I know to be true every year is anything can happen. That's why you close your trades when they make money, because anything can happen. January 20th to the 22nd. Again, this was a Saturday to Monday, a 2-point pop. When they were fighting over funding Obamacare after the midterm election change, I believe, right around there or right before. This was about, I don't know, relative, like I'm going to say 10 days, 10 trading days maybe. But we had roughly from the day before the shutdown into the end, the S&P 500 rally about 4 points under Obama. Okay. And then lastly here, now this was way back when in January 16, 1995, They were fighting over the balanced budget, which they eventually did. And you all know what happened to the S&P 500 during the dot-com boom. This essentially lit the fuse under the dot-com boom. Again, just saying, SPY was only up briefly. There was only it was 2 weeks. I remember this was fairly acrimonious. The market didn't do anything. The market didn't do anything. But I just want you to look at these prices. If you bought the SPY in 1995 when everybody's freaking out, you did okay. It's 61. It's trading 660. 2013, trading about 170. 2019, all through Trump's first term. So again, everybody can wave their hand about the politics. I don't care. Mostly, as long as the US works, markets go up. Now, was VIX still climbing? My recollection on all of this was volatility was doing what it is doing right now. Blue Dog is saying, commonly known as a relief rally. So Blue Dog, or Carlton's asking, was the VIX still climbing? And what I would say up here is, the reason why I talk about a special situation is because special situations act the same way almost every time. Does everybody understand what I mean? So if there is an event, okay, if there is an event, VIX is going to climb because the liquidity provider pushes up the option prices a little every day. Carlton, do you understand what I mean by that? This is what happens every time. This is why we launch special situations. You got a chance today. Mark is going to go live at 4:30, I believe, today on that. That's why we have them. Because what happens is the market is doing its thing, and then all of a sudden, right, this thing happens again. Now, what you have at Option Pit is you have people that have been around 30 years, 35 years looking at options. We've seen these events before. Now, personally, do I think we're going to rally out of this? Yes. The one thing I don't know right now is what? If you had to ask, what's the one thing I don't know? What's the thing that's the wild card with this event? It's not the when, Rich. It's the duration. Very good, SW177, how long it will last. The only question is duration. So as far as trading it goes, weekly profit cycles should do well with this because we have 1 month duration. It has rarely lasted 1 month. We have October 22nd. The odds are it will not last that long. November cycle, we should be out of the woods, but you never know. Right? You never know. What I also tried to lay the groundwork was this is an opportunity for the Trump administration to do what they want. Whether you agree with it or not, I don't care. This is an opportunity for him to do the agenda that he couldn't do before. Just saying, it could happen. Right? Now, the markets did do relatively well under Doge. Now, this is the setup. I will be setting up for this trade in weekly profit cycles tomorrow, this exact scenario. It'll be a little different than our normal, but not too much. Actually, it'll be one of our solutions. So, what do I think will happen? I think eventually we'll write down. We will ride. The markets will eventually be up. The AI thing is too strong, and the tone of the market has definitely been bullish. However, right, you could get a little wiggle and a wobble in between. The longer it goes, right, VIX can basically stay stuck where it is for a while if the shutdown is not resolved. There will be a point, as you could see, when you go back and look at these, there was a point where it looked like the shutdown was going to be resolved, what we'll call positively, and then the market started taking off. Right? Because there's a news cycle, so you could look for that. Again, trading options for this week for the shutdown, I think that's a tough road. Options this week, right now. Mostly because you don't know the duration. And a short-term option, if we don't go anywhere, hard to trade. So for me, most of my stuff for this week, I'll be taking what I can get and moving along for most of for options expiring this week. All right. That's our state of the market. Again, if you want to join weekly profit cycles, we'll be trading this tomorrow. Up top, take a look. I believe there's a deal on that order form. This week is either nothing or it'll be cool, right? Because of the duration of the shutdown. Stocks tend to be flat, vol doesn't do much, rises slightly. And that's what we got. But historically, we're up when it's over. There you go. Did you like what you saw? If you like learning like this is what we do at Option Pit every day. Become a subscriber to one of our services, especially mine, Weekly Profit Cycles on Wednesday. And that's it. You've got the plan. The easiest plan is to join Weekly Profit Cycles. The easiest plan is to join Weekly Profit Cycles. But don't forget, Mark's special situation is free today at 4:30. Check it out.